This is an iHeart podcast.
These parents, they want answers. Everyone wants to know why. There is no answer to the why. Nothing explains shooting at children. I mean, we could bring in the world's foremost forensic psychiatrist. Okay, he was troubled. So if we are waiting on a why, then we're going to be unsatisfied. And where we direct our energies and our emotions is to the trial. And he deprived those parents of justice by taking his own life. They'll never get the answers that they want.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Thursday morning. Nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update. And we've got one major story that we're talking about. It is the horrific shooting in Minneapolis at a Catholic school that has claimed the lives of two children, an 8 and a 10-year-old. I want you to hear from what the FBI director is saying about this now, making it very clear that he believes this was a hate crime. Yet the mayor in Minneapolis, playing politics, refuses to say the same thing. We're also going to introduce you to that mayor. And what is he talking about right now? Not about the transgender student and the radical left ideology that is clearly broken. No, he's now talking about gun control and saying that you shouldn't have the right to go out and buy guns. This is what Democrats are doing, using the tragedy to push a political agenda. And even Amy Klobuchar getting in on the action, saying, we don't even know what guns were used yet, or if certain laws could have stopped this from happening, but she still wants the laws to be passed anyway. But first, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. You've got a lot of choices for cell phone service, with new ones popping up all the time. But if you want to make a difference and you want to stop giving your money to liberal companies, well, one way you can do that is by getting rid of liberal mobile you probably have right now. That is where hundreds of thousands of Americans are now coming together and have made Patriot Mobile what they are today. They've been in service now for 13 years. And right now is the best time ever to switch because it's never been easier. Now, before I tell you about that, I want you to know why switching is so important. Because every time you make a call, every time you send a text, and every time that you pay your bill, you're actually standing up for the values you believe in. Your First and your Second Amendment rights, the rights of unborn children, and you stand with our military, our veterans, our wounded warriors, and our fallen soldier families. Because Patriot Mobile takes about 5% of your bill every month at no extra cost to you. And they give it back to these organizations that fight for our values. Now let's talk about switching. It has never been easier. You can keep your same number, keep your same phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's got a 100% U.S.-based customer service team, and literally they can now, with technology, get you activated in minutes from the comfort of your home or your office. If you're stuck in a contract or owe money on your phones, no worries. Patriot Mobile has a contract buyout program. And this is how we win, folks. By aligning our spending with our values, every dollar we spend matters. Now, let me also give you a free month of service. Go to patriotmobile.com/Ferguson. That's patriotmobile.com/Ferguson. Or you can call them 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Ferguson, and you're going to get 1 month free service by switching today. So again, patriotmobile.com/Ferguson. Use the promo code Ferguson. You'll get a free month of service today. patriotmobile.com/Ferguson or 972-PATRIOT. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number one.
There is one thing we are getting from the Trump administration when it comes to the shooting in Minneapolis. It is clarity. The FBI director, Kash Patel, saying the shooting is now being investigated as a hate crime targeting Catholics. This is something we did not get from the prior administration. The FBI director used a post on X to make it clear that the Minneapolis Catholic school shooting will be investigated as a hate crime specifically targeting Catholics. It was reported that the alleged shooter changed his name from Robert to Robin at 17 years of age. Fox News correspondent Brooke Taylor reported that his mother signed off on the suspected shooter's name change from Robert to Robin. Yet again, another transgendered individual shooting up a school. Police indicated the alleged shooter used a pistol, a rifle, and a shotgun to carry out his attack on the church Wednesday morning. From inside the church, he shot through windows, striking children as they sat in the pews during Mass. As you know, at this point when I am recording this, 2 children have been killed. 17 other individuals have been wounded. Patel putting it on X, saying updates on the shooting in Minneapolis. The FBI is investigating the shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and hate crime targeting Catholics. There are 2 fatalities, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, in addition to 14 children and 3 adults that were injured. He went on to say after that, quote, the shooter has been identified as Robin Westman, a male born as Robert Westman. The FBI will continue to provide updates on our ongoing investigation with the public as we are able. Now, even CNN is having to admit that this was a radical. Here is more of what they said about the shooter.
Breaking news, admiration for mass shooters, hatred of multiple groups, no sympathy for any victim. That is just some of what the shooter in today's Catholic school massacre, which he murdered 2 children, reveals in videos posted online. Videos that police are scouring through right now for clues and answers about the shooter, who has been identified as a 23-year-old named Robin Westman. Brian Todd has the latest on what we know about the shooter.
The coward that shot these victims took his own life in the rear of the church. That coward has been identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman.
Westman seems to have left a series of online videos which describe an obsession with school shootings and even named other mass shooters, such as the 2012 Sandy Hook gunman, the Columbine gunman, and the man who attacked the Tree of Life Synagogue in 2018.
Here's my note to my family.
The video also shows written statements and several guns painted with slurs. In another clip, the speaker simply reads aloud from a clothes dryer manual.
Dryer safety. Your safety and the safety of others are very important.
Police say they also found a litany of writings.
We're also aware of a manifesto that the shooter had timed to be released on YouTube. This manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings. That content has since been taken down with the assistance of the FBI, and it now remains under active review by our investigators.
Apparently part of the plan that the shooter seemed to illustrate in those same videos on YouTube, a photo of a slab of wood. An actual slab of wood was found at the scene, blocking a door from the outside.
This will be for the emergency exit. Pop it through the hand.
According to social media posts, the shooter's mother worked at the school from 2016 to 2021, and the shooter graduated from the school in 2017. The shooter, now known as 23-year-old Robin Westman, identified as a female and changed their name legally to Robin from Robert in 2020.
The agency is investigating this as an act of domestic terrorism and as a hate crime targeting Catholics. Police Chief Brian O'Hara says officials there have not yet established enough of a motive to charge it or to investigate it yet as a hate crime. Aaron?
That is the part that's the most shocking. You now have 2 very different narratives. You have clearly leadership in Kash Patel and the Trump administration calling this what it is. And then you have local liberal police who are saying, no, we don't have enough to actually look at this as a hate crime yet. The question I would ask is, when will you have enough? As the Minneapolis police chief describing the attack on the mass as, quote, evil, noting that the worship service was marking the first week of school for children that are attending the Catholic school. He described the shooting as a deliberate act of violence against innocent children and other people worshiping, but won't call it a hate crime yet. If you want to know what's wrong in this country, this is a perfect example of it. Democrats, even when evil is staring them in the face, will refuse time and time again to call it exactly that. If there's one thing that is happening right now, it is that Democrats are using this to push for gun control. Amy Klobuchar said, I have long supported an assault weapons ban, even before she knows what guns were even used. Many others are also saying the same thing. Former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki breaking down in tears on MSNBC. And then the Minnesota mayor saying, why is it that you can buy a gun virtually every month if you wanted to? Again, blaming the gun instead of the transgendered person who they decided to say that their mental health issues were normal and decided that, we're never going to help them with their mental health. We're just going to try to normalize it. Former FBI profiler said the shooter's parents, well, they're ones to blame as well, saying you helped them change their name at 17. That's probably when the fuse was lit.
Now story number 2.
There's another part of the story about the trans Minnesota Catholic school shooter that the media is not covering. It doesn't fit the narrative that they want this story to be about, which is gun control, and we don't even know what guns were even used yet, but they're calling for it anyway. Well, here's the other part of the story they're not talking about. The shooter had a YouTube manifesto, and it included vile anti-Trump messages written on guns. The transgender gunman who opened fire during that mass at the Minneapolis Catholic school had a YouTube channel that contained his manifesto as well as the anti-Trump rhetoric. A senior Trump administration official has now confirmed that the now deleted YouTube page belonged to the gunman. A video posted by the gunman showed the manifesto and all of the gunman's weapons. One of the magazines contained the words, "Kill Donald Trump." Another one said, "Where is your God?" And another one, "Israel must fall," were among the words written on the gunman's magazines and the actual weapons. The person who appears to have carried out that shooting, reported by local news, had it this way. Posted a video showing the manifesto and the weapons, and one of the magazines, they put the picture up, "Kill Donald Trump." The shooter also went to the Catholic school and hated people of faith. He was a Trump hater, a Jew hater, and he appears to be a supporter of the Palestinian Islamic movement. The shooter also wrote, "Israel must fall," and that was just some of what we've seen. In a post on X, as you know, Kash Patel provided an update of the shooting, which he stated that 2 children, an 8 and a 10-year-old, were killed. And it's by someone that is anti-Trump and anti-Israel. So why is the media not covering that? Why is the media also not covering the fact that this was a transgendered shooter? Yet again, the same issue we had in the Nashville school shooting there. Yes, this is a real problem, and they're not covering it. And that's the other issue, which is, when will the media start actually telling you the truth? When will the media actually start asking the tough questions? Yes, we know that the left loves pushing gun control when something like this happens. The Minnesota mayor, for example, not talking about the mental health issue, not talking about the anti-Jewish rhetoric. No, what was he talking about? He was talking about gun control as well. Listen carefully.
Again, and yet it does.
What does that look like? I mean, you know well, obviously, from being a mayor for some time in Minneapolis, that there are gun laws in Minnesota that other states don't have, but there are some things that could still be done. Is that something that you hope people in the legislature have a will to do at this point in time?
We have more guns in America than people. Mm-hmm. Say it again. We have more guns in America than people. Why? Why is it so easy to get a gun? Why is it so easy to get a whole heap ton of guns? Why is it that you can buy a gun virtually every month if you wanted to? What good is that? We're not talking about your father's hunting rifle. We're talking about people that have gotten guns that, seemingly, in this case, legally, that obviously have a whole ton of mental health issues. You're not right in the head if you're going to a church to shoot it up. You're not right in the head. But the fact that you have guns, in fact, many, many guns, why is that okay? You know, this has gone down in other countries, and they say, you know what, we're not going to allow this anymore. We don't want this to happen anymore. We're going to do something about it. It's got to be out of love for our kids, a common kind of humanity that you understand how deeply I love my little girls. I've got a almost 5-year-old, 4 3/4, she'd tell you. Mm-hmm. And I've got a 3-week-old. And I many times today have thought about the last things that I have said to her before she went into school. And, you know, you shove these things off as, maybe even an annoyance. Get out the door, put on your shoes, let's go, here's your headband, come on. But there's also a beauty to it in that I love her so dearly, and I want her to be able to experience the school and her life safely. That's not too much to ask. And the fact that we've seen these things happen again and again throughout our country, What it tells me is maybe we're not seeing these kids as our own. And so that's my ask to people. Don't think about these as just somebody else's kids. Think about them as if they were your own.
By the way, that same mayor, hours after that interview going on the anti-gun tirade, he is now facing fierce backlash after attacking people of faith for offering prayers during a press conference on a tragic shooting at the Catholic school. Critics now blasting the mayor's remarks as tone deaf and callous in wake of violence that specifically targeted children at worship. But at the news conference, the mayor declared, quote, "Don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends. They should be playing on playgrounds. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence. So don't say it's about thoughts and prayers right now." Wow. That is the mayor of a liberal city that normalized a radical leftist who said kill Trump, kill the Jews, and kill the children that are Catholic. And what are they focused on? Gun control.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
This is an iHeart podcast.